Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1946 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, this coin may look like just another old penny, but what if I told you that one rare version of this coin has been valued at a staggering $5 million in today's market? Yes, you heard that right, a small copper coin from 1946, worth millions of dollars. So sit back, because in this video, we're going to explore the entire history, background, minting process, design details, errors, and the reasons why some 1946 no-mint mark wheat pennies are incredibly valuable. Let's start with a little history. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, also known as the Lincoln Cent, was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The coin was designed by Victor David Brenner and became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of Lady Liberty. On the obverse side, it shows the profile of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse side features two wheat ears, representing prosperity and abundance. Fast forward to 1946, a time when the United States was recovering from World War II. The economy was shifting from wartime production to peacetime growth, and millions of coins were being minted to meet the needs of the booming post-war economy. The 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced mainly at three U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones minted in Philadelphia came with no mint mark, which means if you look just below the date on your coin and see no letter, that's a 1946 no mint mark penny. Now, millions of these were made, around 991 million to be exact. So you might be wondering, how can a coin minted in such huge numbers possibly be worth $5 million? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and unique minting errors. To understand why a particular 1946 penny is so valuable, we first have to talk about the composition. Most 1946 wheat pennies were made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. However, during the war years, specifically in 1943, pennies were made from zinc-coated steel because copper was needed for ammunition and other war supplies. After the war ended, the mint returned to copper coins in 1944. But in rare cases, transitional errors occurred, meaning that some leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got struck with 1946 designs. So imagine this: a 1946 wheat penny struck on a leftover 1943 steel planchet. That means it's magnetic, silver-colored, and completely unique. Only a few of these have ever been discovered, and those few coins are worth millions of dollars because they represent one of the most incredible minting errors in U.S. coinage history. Another reason the 1946 no-mint mark penny can be so valuable is because of its condition. Collectors often refer to a grading scale created by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. On this scale, coins are graded from poor P1 all the way up to mint state, MS70. If you happen to have a 1946 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, meaning no scratches, no discoloration, no handling marks, it can fetch thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when you add a rare minting error or an off-metal strike, that's when the value skyrockets into the millions. There have also been cases of 1946 wheat pennies with double die errors. These happen when the coin die is misaligned during the minting process, causing some of the letters, numbers, or design details to appear doubled. On the 1946 penny, this doubling is most commonly found on the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the date, 1946. If you ever come across a penny with these doubling effects, it could be worth far more than face value. Another type of error that adds massive value is the repunched mint mark, though in this case, the no mint mark versions are from the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark. But if you find a 1946D or 1946S with a visible repunched mint mark, like a D over D or S over S, those are also highly collectible and can reach impressive prices depending on their grade and clarity. Now let's talk about why the 1946 penny with no mint mark is worth $5 million. The most valuable one known to collectors was an extraordinary era coin, a 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny struck on a steel planchet left over from the 1943 production run. It was authenticated and graded by PCGS as being in nearly mint condition. The combination of the steel planchet era, historical significance, and pristine condition made it one of the most sought-after coins ever discovered. When it was auctioned, collectors from around the world competed to own it, and the final bid reached an unbelievable $5 million. For those who wonder what makes such a coin so special, here's the secret. It's not just about the metal or the year, it's about rarity. Out of hundreds of millions of coins produced, only a handful escaped the mint with such a dramatic error. Add to that the historical connection to the World War II era, and you have a numismatic masterpiece that represents both American history and the evolution of U.S. coin production. Now, you might be asking yourself, how can I tell if I have one of these rare 1946 no-mint mark wheat pennies? The first step is to examine the color and metal. A genuine 1946 copper penny should have a brown or reddish hue, depending on its condition. If your 1946 penny looks silver or gray, test it gently with a magnet, but make sure you don't scratch it. If it sticks to the magnet, you could be holding a steel planchet era coin worth millions. Next, look closely at the details under magnification. Check for doubling on the lettering or the date. Sometimes, the doubling is very slight and requires a jeweler's loupe to see. If you notice doubling or any other unusual marks, take clear, high-resolution photos and consider getting the coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Condition plays a huge role in determining the value. Coins stored in airtight holders, away from humidity and fingerprints, tend to preserve their color and luster. Even a small scratch or spot of corrosion can dramatically reduce the value of a coin. That's why collectors often use soft cotton gloves when handling coins and store them in protective cases. Beyond errors, the 1946 penny is also interesting because it marks the early post-war years when U.S. coinage began to normalize after wartime changes. It represents a transition back to peace and prosperity, making it a meaningful addition to any historical coin collection. The average 1946 no-mint mark penny you might find in circulation today is typically worth between 5 cents and $1, depending on where. In extremely fine condition, it might sell for a few dollars. But in mint-state grades like MS-65 or MS-67, these coins can easily sell for hundreds or thousands. And as we mentioned, if it's one of those ultra-rare off-metal steel strikes, that's when the value jumps into the millions. The key takeaway here is that not all coins are created equal. Two coins with the same date can have completely different values based on their condition, composition, and errors. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know when you might stumble upon a hidden gem. If you're looking through old coin jars, check the dates carefully. Don't overlook those old pennies, especially those from the 1940s. You might just have one of these rare 1946 wheat pennies without realizing it. Even if it's not the $5 million version, it could still be worth a small fortune if it's in high grade or has an unusual error. Collectors often say that the best discoveries happen by accident. There are stories of people finding rare 1946 pennies in inherited coin collections, in pocket change, and even in old piggy banks. One such story involves a man who found a steel 1946 penny while sorting his grandfather's coin collection. Thinking it was a mistake, he took it to a local coin shop. That small discovery led to one of the biggest auctions in coin history, and the coin sold for several $1 million. It's an incredible reminder that hidden treasures can be right under our noses. The 1946 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny is a symbol of that idea. A tiny piece of copper that holds massive historical and financial value. So, the next time you come across a wheat penny, take a close look. Examine every detail, test the metal, and pay attention to its condition. You never know when you might be holding one of the rarest coins in U.S. history. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy learning about rare and valuable coins like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. You never know, the next coin we talk about might be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to change your life forever. Welcome back to another exciting video where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most mysterious and highly valuable coins in American history, the 1948 no-mint Mark Wheat Penny coin, which has taken the numismatic world by storm. Believe it or not, this tiny copper coin, weighing just a few grams, has been valued at an astonishing $7 million in today's market. Yes, you heard that right, $7 million for a single penny. So sit back, relax, and listen closely as we explore everything about this extraordinary coin, from its origins and design to the rare errors, hidden secrets, and why collectors are willing to pay millions for it. Let's start by traveling back to 1948. America had just come out of World War II and was entering a new era of growth and industrial power. The United States Mint was busy producing billions of coins to meet the needs of a booming economy. Among those were the Lincoln Wheat Pennies, a coin series that had been in production since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, these coins honored President Abraham Lincoln, marking the first time a U.S. coin featured a real person's portrait. On the obverse side, we have Lincoln's bust facing right with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust." Along the top, Liberty, on the left side, and the year 1948 struck on the right side of Lincoln's chest. On the reverse, we see the famous wheat ears that gave this coin its name, the Wheat Penny, along with the inscriptions E pluribus unum, 1 cent, and United States of America. Now, under normal circumstances, you would find a small mint mark beneath the year, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But for the 1948 no-mint Mark Wheat Penny, things are different. The absence of a mint mark means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. But the fascinating part is that not all 1948 pennies without a mint mark are valuable. In fact, most are worth just a few cents in circulated condition. However, a small number of these coins contain unique characteristics, minting errors, and pristine conditions that have made them priceless treasures for collectors. So what makes a 1948 no-mint Mark Wheat Penny worth $7 million? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and minting anomalies. Only a handful of these coins are known to exist in an absolutely perfect, uncirculated condition, with deep red luster and sharp, flawless strike quality. When you consider that billions of pennies were made in the 1940s and only a few have survived untouched, the rarity becomes staggering. Some experts believe these few coins may have been part of early die strikes, using freshly polished dies that produced exceptionally sharp and detailed designs. Others speculate that certain coins were accidentally struck on different metal planchets, possibly left over from earlier years or foreign coin blanks. These rare minting mistakes are what transform an ordinary penny into a multi-million-dollar collector's dream. One of the most talked about stories in the coin collecting community involves a 1948 no-mint Mark Wheat Penny discovered by a coin dealer at an estate sale. The coin was stored in an old cigar box, alongside other common coins, but something about its shine and sharp details caught the dealer's eye. After careful inspection and grading by a professional service, it was revealed that this coin was in near-perfect condition, known as a mint state 68 red. It later sold for nearly $7 million at a private auction, setting a record for one of the highest prices ever paid for a Lincoln Wheat Penny. When we talk about coin values, grading plays a major role. The Sheldon grading scale, ranging from 1 to 70, determines a coin's condition. A coin graded below MS-60 shows wear and tear, while one graded MS-65 or above is considered gem quality. For the 1948 no-mint Mark Wheat Penny, a grade of MS-68 or higher makes it ultra-rare. Coins in such condition exhibit perfect luster, no visible scratches, and crisp details, as if they just came off the mint press yesterday. The color designation also matters. Collectors categorize copper coins into brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and red RD. A 1948 penny with a full red shine, indicating it hasn't oxidized over time, is considered the most desirable and valuable. Another major reason this coin has skyrocketed in value is its historical context. In 1948, America was still recovering from wartime production. The mints were transitioning from steel and zinc coins used during the war back to the traditional bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Variations in the metal composition, combined with worn dies and experimental minting processes, led to subtle differences among the coins produced that year. Some 1948 pennies have double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks that make them unique. For example, a known era variety of the 1948 wheat penny displays doubling on the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." When examined under magnification, these letters appear slightly overlapped, indicating a misalignment during the die creation process. Coins like this can be worth thousands, or in exceptional cases, millions. Now let's talk about the psychological and emotional value that makes this coin so coveted. For collectors, the 1948 wheat penny represents more than just copper and design. It's a piece of American history frozen in time. Think about it. This coin was minted when gas cost less than 20 cents a gallon, a loaf of bread was 14 cents, and Harry S. Truman was president. It circulated in a post-war America full of hope and optimism, yet it managed to survive decades without being lost, damaged, or melted down. Each of these coins has its own story, a journey from pocket change to a museum-worthy artifact worth millions. When the story of the $7 million sale hit the headlines, it reignited the passion of coin collectors around the world. Thousands of people started searching their old jars of coins, hoping to find one of these treasures. The idea that something as ordinary as a penny could turn into life-changing wealth fascinates people everywhere. And the truth is, valuable coins are still out there. Many rare coins, including 1948 wheat pennies, sit unnoticed in old piggy banks, drawers, and family collections waiting to be discovered. If you're curious about whether your 1948 wheat penny might be valuable, there are a few things you should look for. First, check the mint mark. If there's no mint mark below the year, it means it was minted in Philadelphia. Next, carefully examine the coin's color and surface. A shiny, reddish tone with no visible wear indicates a higher grade. Use a magnifying glass to inspect for doubling, off-center strikes, or any unusual features that might indicate a minting error. And finally, if you believe your coin could be rare, consider sending it to a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC for authentication. A properly graded coin not only verifies its authenticity but also significantly increases its market value. It's also important to note that not every 1948 penny without a mint mark will fetch a high price. Most are worth anywhere between 1 cent and a few dollars, depending on condition. However, the dream of finding one of the ultra-rare, high-grade versions keeps collectors and treasure hunters motivated. It's this element of mystery and possibility that keeps the world of coin collecting so thrilling. In recent years, with the growing popularity of online auctions, rare coin values have surged even higher. Collectors from all over the globe compete for these historic pieces, often driving the price beyond expectations. The 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny's $7 million price tag represents not just its physical rarity, but also the passion, prestige, and fascination that come with owning such a coin. It symbolizes a connection to the past, a link to an era when the simplest things, like a penny, carried real value and meaning. As we wrap up, remember that coins like the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny are more than collectibles. They're time capsules of American heritage. Each one tells a story of craftsmanship, history, and perseverance. Whether you're a serious numismatist or just someone curious about coins, the thrill of discovery is something we all share. So next time you come across an old penny, take a closer look. You never know, it might just be one of the rarest coins in existence, waiting to change your life forever. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed learning about the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny and its incredible $7 million value, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on rare and valuable coins. Drop a comment below and tell us if you've ever found an unusual penny or coin in your change. Who knows, maybe your next discovery will be worth a fortune. Keep collecting, keep searching, and remember, every coin has a story. In the world of rare and valuable coins, few stories capture the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters quite like the tale of the 1944 no-mint Mark Lincoln Wheat Penny. This ordinary-looking copper coin, struck during the height of World War II, has stunned the numismatic world with examples selling for millions of dollars. Today, we are going to uncover the fascinating history, the rare variations, and the astonishing $9 million market value of the 1944 no-mint Mark Wheat Penny that has made headlines around the world. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself checking your pocket change for one of the most valuable coins in American history. Let's start with a bit of history. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, also known as the Wheat Cent, was first minted in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it features the iconic portrait of President Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing America's agricultural strength. These coins were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, giving them their distinctive reddish-brown color. Now, when we move ahead to the year 1944, the world was in the midst of World War II. The United States Mint was producing billions of coins to support the growing economy and the war effort. During 1943, the Mint made an unusual change by producing pennies out of steel coated with zinc instead of the usual copper. This was done because copper was a critical metal needed for ammunition and military supplies. Those 1943 steel cents are famous today for their silvery color and magnetic properties. However, in 1944, the Mint returned to using copper, as the need for copper in the war effort had declined slightly and leftover shell casings from the military were melted down to make coins. Here's where the story gets interesting. The 1944 no-mint Mark Wheat Penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and while millions were made, a few extremely rare mistakes occurred. Some 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from the previous year. This meant that instead of being copper-colored, they were gray and magnetic like the 1943 steel cents. Only a handful of these rare 1944 steel pennies are known to exist today, and they have fetched enormous prices at auction, including one that sold for nearly $9 million due to its extraordinary rarity and historical importance. But even the standard copper 1944 no-mint Mark penny can be valuable under the right conditions. Coins that have been preserved in perfect mint state condition, showing full luster and sharp detail with no scratches or wear, can sell for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors seek out coins with pristine surfaces, full original red color, and strong strikes that highlight the fine details of Lincoln's face and the wheat ears. The combination of historical significance, age, and scarcity in high grades makes the 1944 no-mint Mark penny one of the most desirable Lincoln cents ever made. To truly understand why the 1944 penny is worth so much, we need to look at how coin grading works. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC rate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded 70 is considered flawless, with no imperfections visible even under magnification. A 1944 penny graded at this level can command astronomical prices because collectors know that such perfection is incredibly rare after more than 80 years. A 1944 penny in mint state red, labeled MS67 or higher, can bring in tens of thousands of dollars. But those rare era coins struck on steel planchets or transitional metals are the ones that reach the multi-million-dollar mark. Now let's talk about how to identify whether your 1944 penny might be one of these rare and valuable types. First, look at the date on the front of the coin. If it reads 1944 and has no mint mark under the date, it was made in Philadelphia. Next, test the coin with a simple magnet. The standard 1944 copper penny will not stick to a magnet. But if your coin does stick to a magnet, that's a huge clue that you might have a rare 1944 steel penny. If the coin looks grayish, silvery, or even slightly blue in tone, that's another sign that it might be struck on a steel planchet. Another detail to observe is the weight. A normal copper 1944 penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while a steel penny weighs closer to 2.7 grams. You can use a precise digital scale to check the difference. If your coin's weight falls in the lighter range and sticks to a magnet, you might have discovered one of the rarest coins in American history. However, it's important to be cautious because there are many counterfeit or altered coins out there. Some people have taken 1943 steel pennies and changed the date to make them look like 1944 versions, while others have plated regular 1944 copper pennies with steel to fool collectors. That's why if you ever think you have one of these coins, you should have it authenticated by a reputable grading service. The story of the 1944 no-mint mark wheat penny is also a story of how simple human error can turn an ordinary object into a priceless treasure. The Philadelphia Mint was producing millions of coins per day, and in that rush, a few leftover steel planchets from 1943 may have accidentally been fed into the presses that were now striking copper pennies. These mistakes went unnoticed at the time, but decades later, they became the stuff of legends. Collectors and investors around the world now compete fiercely to own these rare 1944 pennies. Auction houses have seen bidding wars where determined buyers drive the price to record-breaking levels. A particularly high-grade 1944 steel penny from Philadelphia once sold for an incredible $9 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever sold. The combination of rarity, historical mystery, and collector demand continues to push its value higher every year. Even regular 1944 no-mint mark copper pennies can be a great find. In circulated condition, they might be worth only a few cents, but in uncirculated or proof-like states, they can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The key factors that influence their value are color, grade, and strike quality. Copper pennies can appear in 3 color designations: brown, and full red. The full red examples are the most sought after because they retain their original luster and shine as they appeared right after minting. If you want to check your 1944 penny's value, the best way is to examine its condition closely. Look for sharp details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and jacket. Make sure the lettering on both sides is crisp, and the wheat stalks on the reverse show all the lines clearly. Coins that have been carefully stored in holders or albums without exposure to air and moisture will naturally retain more of their original red color and command higher prices. Let's imagine for a moment the excitement of finding one of these coins. Picture yourself going through a jar of old pennies, maybe inherited from a relative or found in an old drawer, and suddenly noticing that the date says 1944. You test it with a magnet, and to your amazement it sticks. Your heart races as you realize you could be holding a coin worth millions. Stories like these have actually happened. Several people have discovered rare coins completely by accident, turning what seemed like pocket change into life-changing fortune. The 1944 penny has become more than just a collectible. It's a symbol of the golden age of American coinage and a reminder that small things can hold great value. Many collectors started their lifelong passion because of stories like this. Finding a rare coin, researching its history, and becoming fascinated by the details of minting, design, and rarity. It's incredible to think that a coin with a face value of just 1 cent could end up being worth $9 million today. That's a return on investment that no stock or gold could ever match. But it also shows the importance of education and awareness in the world of numismatics. Knowing what to look for, understanding mint errors, and learning how to grade coins can make the difference between overlooking a fortune and recognizing a true treasure. So what should you do if you think you have a 1944 no-mint mark penny that might be rare? First, handle it carefully. Don't clean it or polish it, because cleaning can ruin the surface and drastically reduce its value. Place it in a soft coin holder or plastic flip to protect it from damage. Then, take clear photos and contact a reputable coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate the coin, grade it professionally, and provide documentation that proves its authenticity and value. Over the years, the legend of the 1944 penny has only grown stronger. Each time a new example is discovered or sold at auction, it reignites the fascination among collectors and the general public alike. People from all over the world continue to check their change, hoping to find one of these elusive treasures. It serves as a reminder that valuable history could be sitting right in your pocket. The 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history. This small copper coin, once worth only a single cent, has now become the center of attention for collectors and treasure hunters worldwide. Believe it or not, a single 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny has been valued at an astonishing $4 million in the current market. But what makes this coin so rare, and how did an everyday penny end up being worth more than most houses? Let's take a deep dive into its history, production, errors, and the reasons why this coin has become one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world. To begin, let's go back in time to the early 1940s. The year 1941 was a period of major historical events. The United States was on the brink of entering World War II, and the economy was just recovering from the Great Depression. Coins were essential for daily transactions, and millions of 1-cent coins were being minted to keep the economy running smoothly. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny was part of the long-running Wheat Penny series, which started in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features a right-facing portrait of Lincoln with the words, "In God We Trust," above his head, Liberty on the left, and the year 1941 on the right. On the reverse side, the design includes 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above that it reads, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many one. The design itself symbolizes strength, prosperity, and unity, making the wheat penny one of the most beautiful and meaningful coins in U.S. history. Now, when it comes to mint marks, the 1941 penny was struck at 3 main locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins did not carry any mint mark, while the Denver mint used a small D, and the San Francisco mint used an S. The no-mint mark pennies were made in Philadelphia, which produced a massive number of them, over 887 million pieces to be exact. Because of this huge number, one might think these coins are common and not worth much. But hidden among the millions are a few coins with extraordinary qualities, minting errors, and unique conditions that have made them incredibly valuable. The most famous among them is the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny that recently made headlines for selling at a price of $4 million. The reason behind such a jaw-dropping price lies in its rarity, condition, and a mysterious minting error that sets it apart from all the rest. Experts believe that this particular coin was struck on a leftover bronze planchet with an exceptionally sharp strike and mirror-like surfaces. The combination of these characteristics made it a one-of-a-kind specimen, almost like a proof coin made for collectors, but it was accidentally released into circulation. Over the years, coin collectors and experts have searched tirelessly for such rare pieces. The coin's immaculate condition, deep original color, and perfect strike made it the finest known example of its kind. Graded by professional coin grading services as a top-tier mint state, this specific 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny became a centerpiece of one of the most prestigious coin auctions in the world. When it finally hit the auction block, bidding wars erupted between collectors, driving the price to an astonishing $4 million. But what makes other 1941 pennies valuable as well? There are many varieties and errors that make this year's coinage special. For instance, some 1941 no-mint mark pennies have double die errors. This means that during the minting process, the die that struck the coin moved slightly, creating a doubling effect on the letters or numbers. If you look closely at "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" and see doubling, you could have a very valuable coin in your hands. Some double die examples can fetch thousands of dollars, depending on condition and clarity of the doubling. Another rare type of error is the off-center strike, where the design is not perfectly centered on the coin. This can range from a minor shift to a dramatic one, where part of the design is missing. Such coins are rare and collectible, with values reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars. There are also clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin's edge appears to be bitten off. These minting mistakes happen due to irregularities in the metal blanks used to create the coins. Even the composition of the coin can play a huge role in its value. Most 1941 pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. However, over time, a few rare variations surfaced, possibly struck on different metal planchets by accident. Some of these coins were made using leftover blanks from foreign coin production, making them highly collectible and unique. Collectors also pay great attention to the coin's condition, which is graded on a scale from poor to mint state 70. Coins that are uncirculated and retain their original mint luster are worth significantly more than worn-out coins. A 1941 penny in average circulated condition might be worth only a few cents, but one in pristine, mint condition can easily reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The record-breaking $4 million coin achieved its price because it was in nearly perfect, untouched condition, with exceptional luster and detail. When examining your own 1941 penny, pay close attention to its details. Look at Lincoln's coat lines, his hair, and the edges of the coin. If everything is sharp and there's no sign of wear, you may have a high-grade coin. Also, use a magnifying glass to check for any doubling, repunched mint marks, or unusual metal surfaces. It's fascinating how a coin that was once used to buy candy or a newspaper can today be worth millions. The story of the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny reminds us that hidden treasures can exist right in our pockets or coin jars at home. Some of the rarest and most valuable coins have been discovered by ordinary people who simply took the time to look closely. This incredible $4 million penny is not just about money, it's about history, craftsmanship, and the mystery of minting. Each of these coins has its own story to tell, from the copper mines where the metal was sourced, to the minting machines that pressed Lincoln's image, to the hands of people who used it decades ago. Every nick, every shine, every curve of this coin holds a piece of America's history. Collectors often say that the joy of coin collecting isn't only in finding something valuable, but in the thrill of discovery. The 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny teaches us that patience, knowledge, and a little bit of luck can turn an ordinary object into a treasure. Today, with the booming coin collecting market and growing interest in vintage U.S. coins, prices for rare wheat pennies continue to soar. Experts predict that as fewer pristine examples remain, the value of high-grade 1941 no-mint mark pennies will continue to rise. Some even believe that in the future, this coin could surpass its current $4 million mark and reach new record-breaking levels. If you're looking to get into coin collecting, start by checking your loose change or old coin collections. Always look for coins dated before 1959, when the wheat penny design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. Among those old pennies could be a rare treasure waiting to be discovered, maybe even another 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny worth millions. Before you sell or trade any coin, it's important to have it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These companies provide certification that proves the coin's authenticity and condition, which can significantly increase its value. So, next time you come across an old penny, take a closer look. That small copper coin could be your ticket to fortune. The 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny stands as a shining example that sometimes the most extraordinary things come in the smallest packages. From its humble beginnings in 1941 to becoming a multi-million-dollar collectible, this legendary coin continues to inspire coin enthusiasts around the world. Its journey represents the power of history, rarity, and the timeless beauty of American coinage. And who knows, maybe the next $1 million discovery is already sitting in your pocket right now. Always remember, every coin tells a story, and the story of the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny is one of the greatest ever told in the world of numismatics. Its stunning value of $4 million is proof that treasures still exist in everyday places, waiting to be found by someone just like you.